Hello and welcome to SHUBHI, SACHAN of the Material Library. Thank you so much for joining us, SHUBHI. I've long admired your work and I think it's both beautiful and sustainable. What more can you ask for? But I wanted to understand how you sort of were attracted to this category of work, this area of work. What was it that drew you to what other people think is just waste and of no use to anyone?
Thank you so much, Kaveri. Thank you so much for having me. And to answer your question, I think I have Material Library of India happened much later. But to begin with, why you're asking that how did it all started? It all started with an idea that I by my first education, by my undergraduation, I'm a textile designer.
Right.
And,
Where did you study?
I went to APJ Institute of Design.
Right.
And design 20 years ago was not a very well understood segment. So that was 20 years ago. And when I tried making a living out of it, actually doing the process of it was far more fulfilling than actually making a living out of it. And then I started questioning myself that can I do this forever? Can I design bed sheets as a textile designer or duvets or towels forever? Or how can I beautify things without really doing anything bad to the environment? Because that's not what I told myself that I'll be doing. So it felt like a kind of a broken promise to my own self. And that's how it started. And so when you think along those lines, you start to question, then what? If not this, then what? Right. And coming from a service class background, there was not like an option that you start to. So making a living and paying back what you have been invested in your education was kind of a thing, and you had to do that. So I worked in fashion industry for a good 5-6 years. And having done that, for 5-6 years, I was working with some brands. Like I got an opportunity to work with Givenchy, Alexander McQueen. And while working with these brands and doing their crazy surface designs, I realized sustainability is not a price conscious market. It's just like unintended market. Because one side, when I started making towels for Wellspun, which was my first job, I was doing like a Walmart kind of selling of towels, versus when I'm doing Givenchy and McQueen, it's like 6 pieces global production, worldwide production. So, and both the places I've been told sustainability is a price conscious market. And one towel is like few dollars and the other garment is 60,000 euros. So where is sustainability? Nobody had answer to that. So then...
What kind of work did you do with Givenchy, SHUBHI?
All the crazy runway pieces which you see, surface designs was something which I was doing. So they were bespoke garments, like one-off garments, very high-end production of things. Right. So yeah.
Did you enjoy that?
Oh yes, it was like, being a design person, when you're not being restricted by the briefs and you're not restricted by the budgets, I get. It's like a blank canvas given to any designer.
Yeah, you can do anything.
Yeah, you're not being told this won't work or that won't work. You just go crazy and you enjoy yourself thoroughly. But at the same time, so I'll tell you a little incident. At some point I was taking care of all the designs, and one day this repair came, and my boss used to be in New York, and she said we have to repair this, and the dress was coordinated with the dog's dress. And both the people, so they were all hand embroidered in very, very, very high-end garment. And somebody was opening some Olympic event, and the dog was walking with the person, and I had to repair that dress. And I didn't find anything to repair it because everything which we were dyeing and preparing as materials was hand done. So it was very difficult to replicate them. So after a point, I had to hear a lot that how can you not think about these things? And I was like, this is not something, when you're doing 50 grams kind of thing to make a dog dress, like a tiny dog dress. How am I supposed to save things? So from that point onwards, I started saving everything. It's like, I will make bundles, I will label everything, I'll keep everything, because all the clients are so high end that we can't afford to say no.
Oh, interesting. That's how the library idea came up.
So I started archiving everything, and I was like, I'll put a date, I'll put a number, I'll put the garment number, and I'll bloody save it. I will not lose anything, because
That's
it's
so
impossible.
fascinating.
Yeah, so I realized
All from a dog's dress. What was the breed of the dog, by the way?
I don't know. I never got to know all that, but I got shouting on for not being able to repair the dog's dress, and I was like, okay, so I need to up my game of archiving things. And because if you are hand dyeing everything, and if you're dyeing by the eye precision, you can't really replicate things.
Exactly.
If your sequins are hand dyed and they're hand molded, like, so it was impossible for me to just say ki like, oh, isko dobara karna hai. And so I was like, okay, let's save everything. And after a point, I was sitting on a pile. Under the desk, everything was like crammed up. And somebody asked me, why are you sitting like this? And I'm like, where should I put all this? Nobody sees value in it, and I can't afford to lose it. So I think from there, the thought came that, I mean, if the repair doesn't come, if the person doesn't care about the garment and the person doesn't want to wear it again, where do all this go? I mean, I will keep on increasing this pile, not only in the production, not only in the sampling, but after the final garment has gone and left the premises also. I'm still accumulating all these things. So then, I mean, I started rewinding my thought process and saying like, there has to be a sustainable way of doing these things. So materials playing a crucial role from that point. This was back in 2009-10. So materials playing a crucial role from that point was something which was evident in my brain. But from that point, tightening up the rationale and saying that the rationale is going to be what? I mean, what am I doing and why am I doing? I can't just base things that, oh, I'm agitated and I'm frustrated with this particular idea, hence I want to do something else. So it has to have a much tighter rationale, and to have that, I need to start working on things. So that's how I started building the narrative. And from 2012 onwards, I think the narrative was pretty much there. The idea was to understand the materials, and if you understand materials, you can understand recycling. If you understand materials and recycling, you can understand systems to marry them in. And from there on, it went on a slightly more technical route than actually enjoying that blank canvas and being a designer background. But I think that was absolutely not fulfilling versus this was absolutely fulfilling for me.
So then, how did you had to re-educate yourself, Shubhi, to actually understand how to use all these materials that you had accumulated?
Yeah, it was kind of a re-education. At the same time, I went for my master's to St. Martin's. Okay. In London, and I got to my master's at St. Martin's, and I started working on materials, but that course has very little to do about sustainability. The course was a good intersection of design.
When did you go for your master's?
In 2011-12.
Okay. That's a year-long program?
2-year-long program.
Okay.
So when that happened, it was like, oh, so sustainability still remains like a question which you have to solve. And as most of us know, this education system is not something which tells us what to do. It just says, trust in yourself and build your own thing. So I think for me, speculating a problem and solving a problem, as an Indian, which I was always told, why don't you speculate a beautiful narrative and solve a problem? I always, on the contrary, used to back it up with like, being an Indian, I don't think I need to speculate a problem. We have enough at hand. Let's solve those. So let's solve those. And if we are failing to solve those, then we will go into speculative scenarios to be able to imagine how to solve those better. But I'm not sitting and speculating a scenario where I have to imagine a problem. So I think that has a lot to do with your roots and where you're coming from, and you understanding a particular system and ecosystem.
Did your teachers understand that? Did they appreciate this?
I think when it comes to India, it's not very well understood system. And 10 to 11 years ago, it was not well talked about also. Now it's in a slightly better international platform to get talked about. Understood, I don't know. I'm yet to discover how well understood it is. So for some,
the idea that recycling and reusing is ingrained in our DNA is not something the world understands, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And because even if they understood it from a very crafty process. They don't understand that how big of a movement in itself it was. Yeah. And it can be. Even now today, if you tell about PET bottle recycling, and India has some of the best rates of PET bottle recycling, I don't think people take that very seriously unless and until you back it up with good numbers. Right. So it's difficult. Like for some, still it was a snake charmer's land. Yeah, that's true. So for them to take all these things seriously, it becomes. So
then, how did this become a business model, Shubhi?
One second, huh?
Yeah.
So to make it a business model, that's a very good question, Kaveri. To make this a business model, I think a different level of work needed to be done from my end. Because saying that this is a passion project doesn't bring you money. And to make other people see value in what you're doing and share out money.
To get people on board.
Yeah. So we started doing a consultation thanks to this whole CSR, ESG, all these narratives in play. Thanks to some policies and frameworks coming into action, we started doing a consultation. And one of the consultation projects which I started working on after coming back to India was with Godrej. And Godrej, we know, is a very responsible brand. And as a very responsible organization, they do pretty much everything which is assigned by the government to be done in a certain way. But when they have to be presented with this concept, very beautifully and bravely, they said, yes, I mean, we do everything as per the rule books, but we still need to figure out a lot. So we did a project where we drew a matrix of more than 600 materials, and within their 14 businesses of manufacturing, which were directly under their umbrella, and developing that matrix, that how one's waste can be channelized into the other, because these businesses pretty much have their own entities, so they don't really sit and exchange note on something of that nature.
Right.
So it's too on the different tangent for them. So
everyone works in silos anyway.
Yeah. So having a different aerospace saying that appliances will do something with them, with their waste, is something not committed to yet on any kind of framework. So we did that project, and that's how the whole consultation journey started. That if we consult and if we let people know that how this can become a very system yet material centric flow, and how can they bring that change, and then comes the reporting. So everybody has to report. So you get better meat to report and more deeper ways of more deeper ways of fixing things internally. Fixing things internally and then reporting them externally will give you a more holistic understanding of and positioning. So that's how it all started, and since then we have been doing consultation projects with different companies. From past year, we are a very small team, and having a small team, the bandwidth has always been very limited. We are self-funded. We have never picked up any funding so far from anywhere. So we have sustained on our own operations and our own projects. So having all that, our focus in last year, in partly in 2022 and this entire 2023, has been on awareness. And that was a very conscious switch from consultation to awareness. Last year, we were doing a lot of consultation-based projects, research. But we realized somewhere midway that was post-COVID first year where we were fully operational, 2022. So we realized that no matter how strongly we say and we present our data-backed solutions, there's a huge gap which needs to be bridged in context to awareness. And if we don't talk about it, we are not setting the expectations right for a lot of people to understand that why we are presenting what we are presenting. So they come to us, they give us a brief that they want this problem solved. But I mean, when you present them a solution, they're not looking at it from a material point of view. They still want that beautiful looking report. And how to translate that report into action is still a question mark. So for them to be able to raise the right kind of questions and write the good brief, we started a lot of awareness workshops. So this entire year, I think our consultation business gives us more peaceful money, because we take the project, we sit in one corner and do the work. Our awareness workshops don't give us as peaceful money, because you're constantly on your foot and you're constantly doing things. But I think visibility, that why we are talking about what we are talking about. B, people raising the right kind of questions towards us, that agar ye nahi hoga to kya hoga. वो absolutely missing tha until this point ki, okay, we want this done. What if this is not possible? That was not even a question. I mean, we are trying to say that even if you launch a pencil in the market, from a material point of view, there are 10 materials you have used to make that pencil. And to be able to make it a market-ready product, you have done some trials. When you think about recycling, or you don't even think about recycling that pencil, you don't even think of buying back that pencil. But when you think of recycling any such simplest of the items, you want one-step solution. How? I mean, a pen is a simple pen like this contains like 6 to 8 materials. Right. And when you tell me to recycle it and give you a solution of recycling, you want a one-step solution. I mean, what if I have to turn around and say about, how do I turn around and say to every other project that it's not possible? So for me, it was very important to tell people that what questions needed to be asked. Right. And being a very small and a limited capacity team and organization, I think we have done more than 40 workshops in this year, which was ranging across. Sorry?
These are mostly with corporates, with people.
Corporates, schools, organizations, NGOs, other startups. It's a wide range. It's like a whole wide range out there. Right from Tata, we did it with Tata Sustainability Group, to so many NGOs, other NGOs, like Afrosha Foundation, Healing Himalayas. So a lot of schools. I think we have done a very wide range of workshops, and these workshops has brought us to a point where people are at least starting to ask the right kind of questions.
Right.
Not everybody, but yeah.
Yeah. And when it comes to products, you also have products which you continue
Very few. Yeah. We don't want to make products. We don't want to say that we are a product-centric company, but because that's a lot to commit to. But what happens is, Kaveri, when you're doing some research, so let's say I'm doing research on a very technical material, which happens to be a motor winding wire. There's a decent amount of waste of motor winding wire coming out. Motor winding wire used to be copper, pure copper, which has very good value in the market. But when motor winding wire is cost-cutting scenario has been altered with aluminium wires with a poly coating on top of it, with the synthetic coating on top. The game has completely changed for that.
Right.
So 100% copper to aluminium with a coating. Now you have to do 5 more steps to be able to recycle it. Now telling people that why I made pillow covers out of it is something which is making my job easier. That hey, there is a pillow cover. Now I'm starting a conversation from that pillow cover and bringing it backwards. That it's a aluminium
It's something
motor
that
wind
people can understand and
and relate to. So I'm
and
capping
relate.
their imagination. Yeah,
Right.
that's my tool of capping their imagination and telling them that this is more relatable as a product. But we're not a product centric company. And we would not like to say like, oh, let's make products. Yes, I would like to make some things which are not available in the market out there, which are very nice in my understanding, but not like I want to be a product centric company.
So
There's
you
no
have
end to
no issue. You have no issues if someone takes that technology of transforming that waste from motor winding wire into a pillowcase.
very few people can do it.
Right.
Nobody wants.
So
Nobody
when somebody wants to do
understands the
something
necessity.
like that, they will come to you for the technology.
They can, yes, they
Yeah.
can.
Right.
Yeah,
So
and
in a
we
way,
would
you're
like them to do
creating-
it in an
Right.
understood manner, rather than just
Right.
saying that, oh, you're taking something away and doing some beautification. Like in the market nowadays, multi-layer packaging, all the chips, kurkure packagings
Yeah.
are being woven into bags, pouches, different things. So everybody has been calling. There are few brands backed by very big names also. It's like so you use so if I have to give you an understanding of the whole this thing, why am I saying that this is not right? When we are making chips packet, we are making 20,000 tons a day in the market. We are pushing,
Right.
pumping that kind of amount in the market. When we are collecting and putting them into bags, we're probably using per bag 10 packets.
Right.
Now there is no problem solving scenario here.
Yeah.
That is one step. Second step is to be able to make the bag. You can only create a first surface of the bag with that material. Rest everything, zipper, lining, base fabric, handles, hardwares, everything is brand new. So you're creating 90% of more waste to be able to make one product. And then the third step is what happens, because you've taken it out of a plastic ecosystem and put it in a fashion and accessory ecosystem. Now what happens next to this product? So something which is recyclable should not be dealt in this manner is something which we want people to understand. So if they want to take copper motor winding wire, I mean, this for recycling technology now, or for any other material which we are using into products, in our knowledge, there's nothing existing to recycle that particular material. If we are missing somewhere, yes, we are happy to hear people's thought and say like, okay, we have missed out on certain research aspects of ours. But if things are not getting recycled, we are putting them to aesthetic use. But if things are recyclable, let's not break the supply chain.
Thanks. Wonderful. Shubhi, I mean, we could go on forever. There's so much to talk about, but I think I understand your philosophy very well. And if I were to ask you to encapsulate it for our listeners in just a couple of sentences, what would you say? Recycle, what is recyclable? And
recycle, I mean, don't use the word loosely. Try to understand the deeper meaning of it, is what I would like to say. There are very few materials in our everyday lifestyle which are recyclable. There is no cycle being created. If you're breaking the cycle, don't call it recycle. It's a myth which you are creating. Please be mindful of using these words in a contextual, in a very specific scenario. So the moment you start to pay attention to those nuances, I think you will make much more sense of what is downcycled, what is upcycled, and you will start. I don't doubt your intention, but I want to say that your intention has to be placed out loud clearly. That what is downcycled, what is upcycled, and what is recycled.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Shubhi, and all the very best. We'll see you soon.